Interview with Sonny Sikes. Part 2.
How was the preparation in the old days?
Yes. Some people already knew how to do it. But not everyone.
How important is preparation in your opinion?
Very important. I think it is 70% of the victory. I would even put it this way, if a dog can't breathe, it can't fight. The heart sends messages to the brain, and oxygen is most important in that. If you can't breathe, you can't run. The same happens with pit bulls during a fight. This is the most important thing you can do for your dog. So that your body produces red blood cells to oxygenate the circulation. But, that doesn't mean that you will get rid of the hard work. Nothing replaces hard work.
What can you say about the relationship between Howard Haensel and Joe Corvino?
First of all, I want to say that Haensel has always treated me very well. He sent me many dogs. I have nothing bad to say about Haensel. He and I got along really well. I got it from Mike Ferris, with a dog he sent me. All the dogs he sent me were free. Joe and Haensel were no longer friends for a long time. The fight between them started when Haensel lived in Chicago. Haensel was born in Chicago, then moved to Arizona. He went along with his partner, Bruce Johnson. They started a farm, but both went bankrupt. Haensel had Colby dogs but didn't have a place for them. So Joe took the Haensel dogs. Haensel paid Joe 25 cents a day for each dog to feed them. Then Joe demanded 30 cents of Haensel as it was hard to find dog food. Haensel thought Joe wanted to keep his dogs for him. And from there began their antipathy, completely irrational. Haensel maintained this hatred for many years. That was between Joe and Haensel, but there was more. Haensel, and a man named Bud Morelli, stole Joe's dog. They stole it while Joe's son, Joe Jr., was walking his dog outside the house. This dog's name was Blackie. After Haensel stole the dog, he sent the dog to Earl Tudor. Joe found out, and Earl Tudor learned what happened. But, he didn't give the dog back to Joe. Joe and Earl Tudor were good friends and still are. But after that incident, their relationship grew colder.
How many dogs did Joe keep?
He lived in the city, therefore he had limited space. There were about 12 to 15 dogs in their kennel. He cooked the dogs food every day. He always lived near the forge. This man liked dogs. When Joe worked at the forge, he shoot horses or something like that. He kept in touch with several people in his town. These people had 1 or 2 dogs of their breeding.
Joe built his own treadmills. Does that mean he preferred training on the treadmill more than on other equipment?
No, actually, in the beginning he trained dogs walking. Then he started using mats. He had a round, but he didn't like it. He sold it to Bert Klaus. And when Bert died, this projectile still remained. And others worked on it. Joe did the best runways. He used the floor, a running board. Today's catwalks are copies of what Joe used to do. Colby used carpet, but Joe preferred the boards.
How did he train the dog on the treadmill?
The dog was trained at a walking pace. That is, with slow steps. I don't like running dogs. Well, that's just to burn fat, not to get in shape. I like to train, in a balanced way, until the tongue is expelled. That's right. Remember, many fighters have lost due to poor training. I think a lot of guys train a lot with their dogs. Today, to understand how to condition a dog, it is better than in the past. Yes, they turn pit bulls into skin and bones. If you serve only meat for 20 to 30 days for your dog, all the fat will leave your body, and it will be left with nothing. Few guys do it differently nowadays, like Ham Morris and Walter Komosinski. They do it very well, and rest. It's like two guys getting into a dogfight on the wrong day. And the dogs, they couldn't hold, not even a girl with their mouth, you know.
In your opinion, who was the best coach back then?
I would say Don Mayfield and Roland Fontenot.
Why?
Good. You said yourself, that some people take dogs, overweight. And Mr. Mayfield has a reputation for keeping dogs in pristine condition. And it's true, that at that time, he was the best coach. But nowadays, he wouldn't stand a chance. Because he continues, committed, to the old methods. I saw him, in one of his last fights. He had a dog named Snow. Against Charlie, who was Jeep's litter brother. Mayfield didn't stand a chance in this fight.
Who in his opinion was the better handler?
Fontenot and Jerome Hernandez were good manipulators. As for my opinion, they were the best among dogmen.
How important is handling to win?
Very important. However, that doesn't mean you have to jump around the dog. There are people who are screaming and screaming. When his dog, he already fights well, and at a great pace. And they do, for 20 minutes of the fight, or more. You can't go crazy and act wild in the ring. Even because, the other dog can hear you. And as good as yours. I think handling is very important. But when the dog is tired, seriously injured, or simulating giving up. When the two dogs are down. It's the moment of truth, and the fight turns into a real fight. In which both coaches and training participate. And that's where the gameness comes in, and the extreme.
You told me, when you handle a dog in the ring, you don't like to use a wet sponge in the corner. Why not?
If you are putting a dog, who wants to fight, you will need to understand, that he doesn't need a helper in the corner. I don't mind washing my mouth a little after the dog has bitten. But I've seen people, soaking the dog, in the corner. Due to this cooling, in excess. The dog, in my opinion, is in a difficult position. I don't think you are being mean to the dog. If you give the option, between the fight, or the corner with fresh water. Your dog will remember this during the fight. You cannot stop a gameness dog by throwing a bucket of water on it. But I don't particularly like it.
What was your longest fight?
3 hours and 10 minutes, and it ended in a tie. Against Red Howell in Chicago. This was before dog fighting was criminalized. I don't remember, but I remember that the weight was 21 kilos. I put the dog from the Klaus line, the Butch. The dog Howell died 6 months later. I placed mine, against the dogman Mike Ferris, and won, in 1 hour and 10 minutes. Mike had a dog that Floyd Boudreau sent specifically to beat my dog.
What was the shortest fight?
Against Clyde Mason, in 6 minutes. I hit him with my bitch Audrey. She was from a mating, stu Fowler with Mayfield.
Did you train those dogs the same way?
Yes, they trained the same way. And it didn't affect the fight at all. They had different opponents.
What can you tell me about Bert Klaus?
Bert has always been a great person and a great dogman. He was the true king of the track. And the great coach of his time. But by today's standards, he would probably already be average. But in his time, he was one of the best. Bert was a very educated and well-read person. He, like Joe, preferred dogs, with a fighting style, and an athletic build. He once had a dog, named Butch, which he got from Joe. He won 6 times with this dog. The Butch was of the Mason lineage. Joe bought the dog from Jimmy Shear in Louisiana. He used the Butch in cash fights. Joe was very fond of this dog, because he knew this bulldog was good. So he paid $50 for it, and he took it to Chicago. When Bert saw this pit bull, he liked it a lot, and wanted to buy it. He kept about 35 to 40 dogs with him. Among them were good bulldogs. He had Nubby, Waggy, Big Boy, and others. It was in the 40s and 50s. Bert, like many others. He also won, the first dog, from Joe Curvino.
My name is Rodolpho Luiz, and I invite everyone to enjoy the knowledge of this wonderful breed. Subscribe so you don't miss the next video. God bless you all. I went.